So a lot of people have been asking me to make detailed Warno guides on divisions, and I was thinking about the best way to do it. I don't want to just sit here and read out a deck. I actually want to show you how these divisions play out, their strengths, their weaknesses, with actual examples. So this is my first proper divisional guide, and it is for the Soviet 2Y division, second Soviet armored whatever. So I will first go through the deck, explain why every single unit is there, and then I'll go through some examples. Everything will be time stamped. A lot of people say, can you send me the deck code? The answer is no. You need to build the deck yourself watching the video, because the act of you putting those units into the deck will actually teach you. It's the same reason schools make you write stuff out as opposed to just sitting there and listening to the teacher speak, right? It helps you learn. So first I'm going to go through the deck, and then I'll have the examples, and there'll be timestamps in the description. First off, I would like to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One join at the lowest levels with 2,000 views, so if you're feeling bad about your ad block, it's a great way to support the channel, and they would get this one earlier as well. The other thing is, after this I'm going to make a deck for High Dynamic Range London, the other newest div, and then you can vote. So I've got a poll here, this will be linked in the description. Which division should Hippie make a full guide on next? And I'll leave the voting open for a week or whatever. I voted for First Spanish because I want to play it. But yeah, all 53, there are 55 divisions in the game. Obviously minus second and HDR, there's 53, so this is all 53 divisions, and you can vote for whichever one you want to see, and whichever one wins, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. I'll think about it very hard. So, without further ado, let's get into the deck. Just writing it out so I know about the editing. So, let's give a divisional overview first. Let's give a divisional overview. Like, what's the division for? So it's sort of your standard Soviet heavy div. There's lots of divs in this game which are pretty similar, and they are the Soviet heavy divs. So, 2nd Soviet, 27th Soviet, 39th Soviet, 79th Soviet are all really similar. Then you've got, 31st, 25th, 6th, and 119, which are similar, but they're not as similar as these four. These four are the most similar divisions in the game. But this one is a lot weaker than, for example, 79Y. And I'd say it's weaker than 27Y. Certainly weaker than 119Y. Yeah, so what's it all about? What's it all about? Technically, it's actually a mechanized division, not an armored division. My bad. I learnt that today. Yeah, so the idea is the division's quite slow off the bat. In the early game, it's really quite weak. You do struggle against divisions which have like lots of wheeled crap to throw at you at the start of the game, because you can find that you just can't kill the stuff as fast as they can buy it. You don't have proper medium tanks. All your tanks cost, a lot of money. Your cheapest tank is this T-64 command tank, which is quite strange. Does take some getting used to, actually. So, yeah. I'm actually gonna just go through it tab by tab and just explain everything. Like I said, this is the first guide of this I've made. If you've never seen me before, I used to be rank 1, right now I'm rank 11, and these 10 people haven't made this guide. So you're stuck with me. Yeah, so I'll explain why every single unit's here, and then there'll be some examples in the description if you're too zoomer-pilled and you just want to see how it plays out, right? But the idea is, the general game plan is, you open with the Spetsrazvedka, and maybe a couple AA guns, and maybe a couple OSAs, and then you make a picket line, right? The BRDM2 Conkers are useful for that. And then you just slowly build stuff up. The Meti squads are good at the start, right? Infantry Conkers, and you just slowly build up all these tanks. You need to make sure that you kill off the enemy anti-tank bombers, right? So they dive on your T-72. They kill your T-72, but you kill them. before you bring out these TATUs. Now, I've actually played a lot of games where I don't bring these out at all because the game ends before it can happen, or there's just no reason to. So that's, that's obviously a bit weird. But if you bring this out at the start, not only is it stupidly expensive, but also it just gets smacked by a plane and dies. And unlike 79Y, unlike even 39Y, you don't get cubs. Your longest range AA is the OSA, and your jets. This thing's nice, but it's only got 2 long-range missiles, and you only get 2 of them. And this thing's cost-effective, but you can make them work, right? It's just you don't have long-range AA, so keeping this alive is very, very difficult because the plane, right? This is 1 per card. You have to bring it at 1 vet. This is 1 per card, and the bomber is 2 per card, and it costs less. So there's just 100% chance that they're just going to chuck a bomber at you, or something dumb will happen. You'll get side shot, right? Stuff like that. So this only comes out at the end, and sometimes you don't buy it at all, and you'll see that in the worked examples. But yeah, let's just go tab by tab. I mean, the general game plan is what I've just said. You can also do the funny opener, which happens, and you can do the same with 27Y. You can do the same with, I think, 79Y and 39Y as well. You open with this Recon Helo. This is why this is in the deck. It's only 1 per card, and it's a 2 AP slot. So, it's kind of expensive, but you get this fighter, and you get this Su-25. And the idea is, you send out the Recon Helo. This kills the enemy forward deployment, and this keeps everybody alive. What you need to pay attention to is as soon as the minute passes, as soon as it goes to 49 minutes, right, or 48:59, the enemy will get an extra burst of income, and they will buy a fighter, and they will chuck it at this. So you need to be very, very careful, and you need to make sure you microman this properly. In some cases, I even just buy a second one as soon as the minutes passes, because I know it's going to be a 2v1, and try and keep this bad boy alive. And you'll see that in the worked examples. So there's 2 ways you can open, and you'll see it in the worked examples. Razvedka, BTR-80 Spetsrazvedka, with lots of conkers things and the Metis squads and maybe 2 OSAs and maybe 1 of these, but or you do the funny opener, 1 Mi-24K, 1 MiG-23, 1 Su-25, and it is very funny. So tab by tab, we only have 2 cards of supply, and that's because if you turn off fuel, you only need 2. If you always, as soon as it comes in, you turn off the fuel, you only need 2. If you forget to do that, you will run out of supply. So you are on the thin line here. Maybe you'll want to get rid of some tanks to get more supply, but honestly, I wouldn't bother. I would just learn to switch off the fuel as soon as it comes in. Then we've got 3 CV cards. The reason this is here and not here is because this is a 3-point slot. This is a 3-point slot. If I got more than 1 card of this, I would bring 2 cards of this instead of 1 of these. That's what I was stuttering about at the start. So, first things first, the Potok 2. Why is it here? 40 points. You can get 2 of these for the price of 1 Belazor. So, you open with 2 of these. And that allows you to not be too far behind on the tick. Like I said, at the start of the game, it looks like a really long Lewis gun. I do wonder what that is. It's probably some sort of aerial. At the start of the game, you're going to be quite far behind. You got to play defensive while you build up your stuff. Even if you get the funny opener off, it's kind of you will expect to be losing at the start, right? Unless you're against somebody you're a lot better than. So you get 2 of these out, and you send 1 to 2 sets of zones, and 1 to 1 set of zones, and the other to another set of zones, and you just make sure that you're not too far behind on CVs. You can buy 2 of these for the price of 1 of these, and that means your opener isn't too weak, and you still get all your zones, right? Fantastic. If you think somebody's buying a forward deployed CV, that can be almost like 120 points, depending on the transport. Usually it's about 100, 110. This is 40. So you buy 2 of these at the start. And 2 cards of supply. The cheaper supply is great for the front line, and then you only get 1 card of these, so you have to bring this heavier supply. I wouldn't bother with the Helo supply for 1v1, because people see it come in, and then they shoot it, and this is actually cheaper for the same amount of supply. So, and this you might think it's faster, and on a map like BlackForest it would be, but it has to land, and the enemy will see it land, and they'll arty it. So, that's not great. So you need these supplies, and then the Belazor instead of the Chika, right? The Chika is 20 points more, it's got twice the HP and so on. I just get the Belazor because it's cheaper. You can get the Chika if you want, for only 20 points more, right? Only 25% of the unit cost increase, 25% price increase, you get twice the HP, and it's a little bit faster, and it's a little bit armoured. It does have worse stealth, right? So it might be worth it, but you're going to be quite far behind. And, you know, generally I just buy 2 of these, and then this is for later in the game, and I don't think about it too much. Infantry. So I bring 2 cards of BMP2s. Now, the interesting thing about this division is that you get the regular Soviet infantry, but they get the Resolute trait, which means they take less suppression in combat, and they've got slightly faster suppression regeneration. The reason I bring these at 2 vet is simply because I don't need 4 more BMP2s, right? It's very, very, very rare that I'll run out of these. And, you know, I've got enough infantry. Generally, if this doesn't work, you've lost due to a different reason, right? If you buy all your infantry in a 1v1, all this infantry, and you're still not winning, it's because you've not used your armoured firepower to cut off the enemy reinforcements. If they're just constantly reinforcing into a town, that's why you've lost, right? And if that was happening, you're going to lose anyway, because this infantry, even though it's resolute and everything, does lose to sort of bigger squads, right? Regular Spetsnaz is going to kill them, Navy SEALs, stuff like that. Even, you know, air mobile pioneers or something. The Soviet infantry just isn't that great. The Soviet line infantry just isn't that great. So, I bring it at 2 vet because it makes them kill a lot better, right? If you look at the BMP2, right, it gets a lot better, and I'm just generally not buying that much of it. The Metis, so I end up, basically, like, the BMP2s are like the last things I buy. I end up buying all these first. I bring it in the BTR-80. I have a separate guide on the BTR-80. I suggest you watch it. It'll be linked in the description if I remember. And, this guy has got plasticine face there. Too much smoking. And, the BTR-80 is great against infantry, right? This is the thing. This is how the Soviet infantry works. The infantry itself isn't that amazing. Obviously, the Saperi RPO is pretty decent, but it tends not to kill an enemy because they see it and they just run away. But the Soviet infantry by itself doesn't really beat most squads. But you've got the BTR-80, and the BTR-80 can put a lot of firepower down quite quickly. And obviously, yes, it costs a bit. But you can also just send it round the side through the forest, round the back, and it can shoot 1 armoured vehicles and stuff like that, kill enemy AA positions, kill enemy artillery, intercept enemy transports. Really nice piece of kit. And the idea is that this supplements the Metis, right? So if you unload or you know, the Gvardetsi SVD, and you're getting shot at by NATO infantry, and the NATO infantry, they tend to have more machine guns than more machine guns at the very least. You get the BTR-80 on them, and then you should win that fight. Obviously, if they're packing a warrior or something, then you're not going to win. But the Metis will shoot the warrior. The Gavad, so this is, at the start of the game, you really struggle to deal with, like, massed enemy units, because your tanks get sniped by enemy planes, and the Osas can really only revenge kill. And this thing, it's good at surviving, but it's not very good at killing, because it's only got 2 of these missiles, even though they are really nice missiles, right? Same with this thing, it's not particularly great at anything, except it's cheap, right? It's really quite cost-effective. And so it tends to be that you're only avenging your tanks, you're not stopping them from dying, which means it's kind of hard to buy this, and so you end up opening with a lot of Metis, and the BRDM2 Conkers, and the BMP2s. Vardetsi are like standard line infantry, but they've got an SVD. An SVD is like 2 machine guns, which means it's like 4 rifles. In terms of the suppression, you suppress the enemy quite quickly. So it's pretty decent for 45 points. It's actually very nice. Not so great in forests, but in with reasonable sight lines, you can win some fights. BTR-80 again. The Conkers is just a Conkers, but it's got Resolute. If it's got GV, that means it's Resolute. So this is just... Although, I don't think there is a Soviet regular squad like this, but Metis, it's just a Metis, but Resolute and so on. So the Conkers, the reason it doesn't come in a BTR-80 is because I've got enough BTR-80s, and if I want an ATGM, the ATGM is generally used defensively, and so this isn't particularly useful for it. You can keep it with it, and then as soon as you get hit by arty, load it up into the BTR-80 and drive away, and then your Conkers doesn't die. That's pretty high-level stuff. I'd rather have cheaper Conkers, because this can be sold. So I'm paying 65 points instead of 100. So you that's 50% more money, right? To get the BTR-80. So I don't think it's worth it. The Saperi Apio, I'm using it in forests. I've got enough BTR-80s, so it's in a gas. Same with the regular sappers. I'm using these in towns and forests where the BTR-80 isn't so useful. And then the 30mm grenade launcher, great on the defense. Great on maps like urban frontlines. You get urban frontlines, and you get those towers. You just fill those with the Conkers and the 30mm, and put a supply behind one of the towers. You tend to win. That is one of the examples, or even two of them. Artillery. So I used to run this. So I used to have a third card of supply and run Grad Acacia. And in some of the examples, you'll see that, and that was a mistake. Because of my video about the meta is medium machine gun teams, everybody's spamming medium machine gun teams now. So the Acacias are great against medium machine gun teams, right? The Grad is good against blobs of enemies. If the enemies are blobbing with tanks or something, you can use this with one of these in front, or you can use this, right? The Grad... I want to make it work, it's just, you need to bring an extra card of supply because of how supply hungry it is. And it's great against blobs of stuff, but if you're against good players, they don't blob. They spread out a bit more, right? And so that's where the two 1-vet Acacias come in. And then once you've used these to capture places, tends to be that one of them is just kind of spare, it's on a side zone, you don't really need it there. You send it back. You put it with the Acacia. You buy your first Acacia about 5 minutes in. Remember, you want to play slow. You want to play slow, take loads of trades, take good trades, slowly kill off the enemy bombers, build up your tanks, and then once everything's ready, then you bring in one of these things, right? You want to play slow. And that's something I have to tell myself as well, because I'm not used to doing that. So yeah, 2 1-vet Acacias seems to work better than a Grad and 2 Acacias, because that is too slow, because then that's 3 cards of artillery, right? Just keep in mind, this is one of these. Yeah, having these up-vetted means that it loads faster and stuff, and that helps you whittle down the enemy small teams that are defending, ATGM teams, medium machine gun teams, recon teams. You just slowly grinding those down, and for that purpose, the tube artillery is better than the multiple tube artillery. So mortar for smoke, sadly not self-propelled because you don't get that option, but you bring it in the MTLB because as soon as you see the counter battery come in, you load it up and move it. You will see that in the example games. Tank, so we spoke about this a little bit. This is your early game medium. This is something I'm still kind of getting to grips with, that you can buy this before you buy this. So if you are against, you'll see in one of the games, I'm against like a huge swarm of crap from 152 easy player, and I should have bought this actually, but I had the problem where I just couldn't defend my tanks from the air. So we'll get to that, but basically you can buy this before you can buy this. Obviously this is better at hurting people, right? They actually have the same pen, but the T64 fires faster, so... But the T64 can die in one hit to an AT plane, whereas the T72 can't. From an anti-tank missile at the front. But both can die to a side shot from a Conkers. Then the T64B is pretty cool. Okay, yeah, so this I spoke about. So there's something really funny you can do, and you'll see my opponent in one of the games against Zonbox, a really good player. Probably better than you. He fires the gun and then he switches off the gun and launches this missile at me, and usually that's not a very good idea because the missile isn't that good, but Because look, in this case, the missile is just the same pen, although heat is better than kinetic. It depends on the distance, right? But this is a 25 AP missile. So, so if that hits you, it really ruins your day. That is a tandem toe two basically. So he fires this, and then he switches off with a gun, and it'll fire the ATGM, and then he switches this back on and fires that, and he wins the fight because we both have the same tank. Really interesting example. The T-64B is, I get it because it's got, so obviously yes, it'll die one hit to an AT plane missile from the front, but generally people are just spamming out iron bombers, so cluster and HE, just regular bombers, especially since the bombs drop faster now. They tend to be a lot more reliable at killing stuff. But they expose themselves for longer, right, and they tend to be a bit more expensive. So yeah, this has the max range gun and a higher fire rate. So it costs more, but it is better at shooting people, and it's got the ATGM, which can be useful. And then yeah, this is the sort of crowning glory, 200 points. It's hard to, like, if the enemy's pushing into you, and you've got two OSAs behind this can get a lot done. So you'll see that in the game against Koch, another top player. He's playing 4th Armoured, that'll be in the examples, and he's pushing into one of these, and it's just going bam, 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 and he's shooting it, and it's doing like 1 damage. The 18 armor's very important. Obviously 21's a lot better, but 18 armor for 200 points is really, really nice. I think that's actually the best in the game, because like this is 220 for 18 armor. And honestly, the T-72 is better because it's got better infantry stuff, and it's 20 points cheaper. It's got less range, but it doesn't really matter. Although this can survive a Conqueror's side shot. But yeah, 18 armor for 200 points is like top of the line. I don't think there's another thing that's 200 points that has 18 armor. I need to get my decker, not making a new one. Like I said, the examples will be in the description. This is a full comprehensive guide. It's going to take a long time. So yeah, I bring a bunch of these. There's no point running them at 2 vet because... so you run them at 1 vet because it makes the suppression. To be honest, you could try running it at 2 vet if you really want. It's just the rate of fire doesn't go up because it's an autoloader. It does, however, mean that it gets... So actually, yeah. I'm going to leave that first one at 2 vet and I'm going to see how it performs. Because, yeah, so some games, a lot of games, I don't really run out of tanks. So at 2 vet, basically it will recover its suppression faster and it has more stress resistance, which means that it can stay in the fight longer. Now, given how much armor it has, that can be very useful. So I will, at the very least, sacrifice one of my tanks for an experiment to see if that works. But the rate of fire doesn't go up, right? And this is auto-loaded as well, and this is auto-loaded as well, so the rate of fire doesn't go up with the veterancy. BRDM2 Conquers we spoke about, so you've got choices here. This is more of a defensive tool, and if you're against a good player, you will shoot this, and he will immediately hit it with a howitzer, and it costs 95 points, because you have to keep this with it, and you can't sell it. So you have to keep it with it to reposition it. Whereas this is more of an offensive tool. It can still be defensive. You'll note they have the same stealth, right? This will survive multiple tank rounds. This will die in 1 tank hit. Just that's how it works, because this is a vehicle and this is infantry, quote-unquote. And this can shoot at infantry as well. But the advantage of this is it goes at 85 kilometers an hour, which means you can send it through the forests, and it will go at 2/3 that, which is going to be like, what, 60, something like that. And you can send it round the sides to go annoy the enemy. You could say, well, I can already do that with BTR-80s. Okay, you do you, right? Both options are viable. It's just this is more defensive, and against good players, it will just get hit by artillery. Whereas this, it shoots, and then it moves. It shoots, and then it moves. Obviously, you can move this manually, but it costs 95 points, and this is 70. So, but it is very nice on the defense. Recon, so this is funny, right? I bring the motorized Razvedka in the Mi-8T rocket, which you can actually do on a lot of divisions, but usually there's not a good reason to. Like I said, this division really struggles with DPS. You just can't deal that much damage, especially since like BMP2's got quite a bit more expensive and the autocannons got nerfed. They're just not the sort of super weapon that they used to be. And the tanks don't shoot that fast. And they're very expensive, so you can't have that many of them. So I bring this to hit people with rockets, and honestly, it's so useful. Sometimes it doesn't work, right? If the enemy's really good at bringing up man pads with his forces, then you can't really use them so well. But generally, they're pretty useful, and they allow you to, because you spend so much of the game just sort of turtling and just taking trades. When the breakthrough moment comes, you can just poop out a bunch of Mi-80 rockets and just really take a zone quite quickly, and that's in one of the examples as well. This is the specs. You see, I bring it at no vet, and that's because I just want the Mi-80 rockets. The other thing is, right, so this is a 2-point slot, okay? Or I could get 2 of them. So why would I do that? Why would I... It's the same. Why wouldn't I just get 6 of them? So there's no point up betting it. If you really don't want to do this, you can bring it in the Razvedka BMP 1P, and then you've got more defensive tools for the early game, because this has mediocre stealth, it has smoke, it shouldn't be 40, it went down from 45, and it doesn't really make sense as to why, because it's got smoke and everything. And so this is pretty good on the defense, pretty good on the defense, because of the mediocre stealth, for only 40 points, right? Which is like almost half the price of this, but this is obviously better. So yeah, you can do that for the defense, but I really prefer the Mi-80 rockets because you get 6 of them, and you can use them to kill stuff because you do struggle to kill stuff. Spets Razvedka, you gotta bring at 1 vet, and you gotta bring it in this, the Razvedka BTR-80, which is the same as the regular one, but it's got good optics and mediocre stealth because of this sick camo scheme. And this is your opening. So I find that I'm buying, 3 of these at the start every time, maybe even 4, sometimes 2, but this is your opening because you don't have airborne forward deployment, right? Like literally none. You don't even have like a funny sniper team or whatever. You can try and do a heli rush with this. I don't really think that's a good idea, but you can try it. But yeah, the idea is you get there and you're at 1 vet, and this you've got ground surveillance radar. You actually can't down vet it, which is interesting. But yeah, you get there and you shoot them up with your BTR-80, and it's got, good optics. So then if this survives the initial engagement, you can send it round the side and round the back to go snipe an enemy AA position or artillery position, send it down an unused road, try and get behind them and shoot them. This is pretty good. And yeah, you need this. You need this. The BRM-1K I think you need as well. So this is exceptional optics, so you put it with your tanks. I used to say click this, Shift F, click on your tank, and it'll follow it around, and it does. But sometimes when you press B on your tank to smoke, the BRM-1K hits it in the back and pushes it forwards a little bit, and then it doesn't smoke for an extra second, and then it dies. So, so I don't recommend that anymore. Just control them separately. Just control them separately. Sometimes it does get you killed. And then I spoke about this at the start. Very funny opener, Mi-24. It doesn't work against people with airborne forward deployment. And frankly, once this video comes out, it's not going to work against anybody for a couple of weeks, because everybody will watch this, and then they will plan ahead. But the idea is you buy this, you buy this, you buy that. And you send the jet, as soon as the game starts, you send this out, because it'll take 10 seconds. Wait a few seconds, send this out. Right, this is going towards where the enemy airborne forward deployment should go. And this scouts and engages the enemy plane. If you lose in the fight, you just evac this, or just land this. But otherwise, you can really chew up the enemy's forward deployment with this. It's very, very funny. AA, so the OSAs, I used to run a thing where like I would have 2 cards of these at 2 vet, but I mean, it's a 3-point slot. And, so you could get rid of 3 tanks here to up-vet your OSAs, and maybe that's worth it, actually. Get 4 OSAs at 2 vet, 10% more accuracy. You'll see in one of the games, I'm against somebody who has double-vetted his OSAs, and he hits a lot of my stuff. So you could do that, but the way I see it, 3 points, I'd rather have the tanks. So yeah, maybe I'll try up-vetting these next time. We'll see. Yeah, so these are up-vetted. So yeah, in some of the earlier games, in the examples, I do actually have 2 cards of these, but this is what I've settled on, is just 1 card at 5 availability. They do miss a bit, but the idea is you're playing it slow. Eventually you should have all 5 of these out, if it's that kind of game, and you just sat there with your tanks and your OSAs, and they come on to bomb a tank, and they die. They come to bomb a tank, and they die, right? This is still really, really good against infantry. You can up-vet it by 1 if you want. I tend not to buy all 9 of them in a game, so you can up-vet it, but they're very good against infantry. still, even with the 50% damage reduction, they're still really good. So, and then the Igglers. You don't need 9 Igglers, so you upvet it. So yeah, let's try upvetting that just for the next time I play it. If you don't like that, you can just downvet it again, because it's great anti-infantry, but you've got, you know, BTR-ATs and grenade launchers and stuff, so I'll try upvetting that to 1 vet. Helis, so the slots are expensive, so I only bring 1 heli because these are my helis. Whoops. These were my helis. So 6, 7, 8. And the reason for this is that this has got a Kokon on it, and that's your only option. So sometimes you need a Kokon. The enemy does an armored breakthrough, but the general idea is the enemy does an armored breakthrough, runs into a bunch of conkers. But yes, you have to be very careful to protect this, because you've only got 1. Don't send it out without a fighter circling around. And yeah, air tab, so you need 2 cards of fighters. You need at least 2 cards of fighters. I've seen some people run 3. I do need the SU-25 for the funny thing at the start, right? Because if you can get it off, it's really good, and later on in the game you can send it round, and you'll see in one of the examples against Koch, this thing doesn't die. I just spend the whole... It gets shot up a lot, but it has to be hit like 3 times by something like a rapier, because the armor reduction, unless it hits it on the side twice, the armor reduction will reduce the damage. Yeah, so 2 cards of ASF. Right, you can bring this if you want. It's got a lot of missiles. For some reason, it's this really old missile, which they replaced with the other missile. It's apparently better. So who knows why they replaced it if it's better, right? But yeah, it's got lots of missiles, but it's you know, it's not very great against helicopters, so, and this can sort of shoot helicopters as well. So I prefer this one. Does cost more, right? But it's got more ECM and stuff. But yeah, the SU-15 is super fast. But yeah, the MiG-29 you have to bring. It's got 40% ECM. Sometimes it just gets hit twice and dies. I mean, that's Warno. I see that happen a lot, even though it's got 40% ECM, it does happen. But yeah, you need 2 cards of ASFs, and I bring these 2. And then these bombers, you need to be careful with them. Because, honestly, you'll find that... So if you're like at the start of the game, you have a high priority target, I need to bomb this right now. You know, if it's running towards you and it's a CV, okay, fine. But what usually happens is you buy it and it dies. And the unit it kills is about 60 points. And it gets to later in the game. Remember, you want to go late. You want to go late. So if you buy too many bombers early and they die, then late game you don't have loads of planes. Whereas if you do this kind of, and you'll see this in one of the examples, if not multiple, I'm fighting all game in like one area, and then towards the end I'll do a breakthrough in another area, and then all the planes come out, right? And the planes and the helos, and there's no AA there because I haven't been buying planes for the whole game. And so the enemy is greatly bamboozled. So yeah, you got to be careful with these. This thing is super good because it's got 1,000 kilos of ordnance. You can also use it against infantry, and it will kill infantry. That'll be in an example as well. But it costs 240 points. So if you're going to send this out, make sure there's no AA there, or you've got a fighter up, or you send the fighter in front of it so that gets hit by the AA, or what I like to do is buy one of these, and one of these behind, and this will go first and target the enemy AA position if I already know it's there, and this will come behind and target the tank or whatever it was, or I'll put them both on the same target. And if this dies, no biggie, 3 per card, and it's 90 points less than this, right? And then yes, the SU-25. So that's the end of the full deck showcase. As you can see, I made a couple changes, right? So this is useful for me too. So here's the completed deck. Like I said, no deck code. And now I will go through the examples. The examples, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4th UK got some buffs in the last patch. It got an exceptional optics vehicle, and the chieftains, most of them got 10 points cheaper. One of them was forgotten, so you shouldn't bring that one. I believe it was the Chieftain Mark 6, I think, which got cheaper. Or it might have been the Chieftain 1/4, which didn't get cheaper. And Koch is rank 15 or something. I did actually record this game live. Or, you know, I recorded it and then it went up, but I was recording while I was playing. Anyway, here it is, right? The members get it early. Who knows when you'll be seeing this? That'll be linked in the description if I remember. If I haven't, then I haven't. And yeah, so fourth UK, it's I mean, it is weaker than second UK. It's got a similar kind of idea, but not really. So essentially, it doesn't have airborne forward deployment, but it's sort of an early game pressure division. So you don't get there first, but you just sort of show up with a bunch of slow but reasonably well armored tanks. A lot of people say it's like a T-72 division. It's not. T-72 divisions are a lot better. Um, but yeah, the chieftains they're slow, but they've got good armor for the price. Slow with a decent gun but bad fire rate. So you fix that by just massively upvetting them. So you see, actually got these at 2 vet, and then the Sultan's upping it to 3 vet. And the idea is he's gonna, Festina Lente. He's gonna get there second, and then the big mech blob is gonna show up, and he's just gonna grind into me with the mech blob. Now, second UK, second Soviet. There's lots of seconds now. That's reasonably good at dealing with this strategy because of the T-72s. So I've got the funny opener, right? The Mi-24K, and then behind that I've got a fighter, and behind that I've got an SU-25. This is a really good division to do that against because he doesn't have fast AA, right? His AA is the tracked rapier, and his planes, his fighters aren't that great, particularly against helicopters because they don't have guns. His fighter, and so the chance of this dying is very low. So that's pretty good. So looking at the deployments, I've got 3 Spetsrazvedka, as I spoke about in the extensive deck analysis. You got to open with these. And sometimes you might find, like, because if the enemy's got airborne forward deployment and you don't, then that's not going to work out so well, right? So you can just pop the smoke and run away. Don't be afraid to do that. It's a lot better than dying. And if, like I said, I'm doing the funny opener, but I do have an OSA behind because what if the funny opener doesn't work out? You should generally always open with an OSA. If you're not doing the funny opener, you should have 2 OSAs. And the idea is, okay, these get intercepted by a helo, they pop the smoke, they reverse, or they pop the smoke and hide behind a building, or whatever. Pop the smoke and just hide in the smoke and wait for the OSA to show up, because the OSA's wheeled, so it won't take that long. It's basically just this distance, because they go at the same speed on road. The OSA's going to show up, and then that's going to shoot the enemy helo. Enemy helo's going to be distracted by this anyway, so the OSA's going to rinse them. So, Spetsrazvedka to here. I know my enemy doesn't have airborne forward deployment, so I can go here. If he did, then I would be unloading it here, maybe. Or even here. But yeah, probably here. Well, no, actually, because if it was forward deployed with, like, AT, it could shoot me there. So I'd probably just unload here, and then run it up with the BTR-80 covering it. And yes, we've got BRDM2 Conkers just to cover this whole flank. Obviously, he could sneak something all the way around here, but we're covering most of the flank there with that unit. We got a infantry and infantry Conkers going to here, because that can shoot down this road, right? These airport control towers allow you to see further than atheists. And yeah, the OSA we spoke about. The Potox, I spoke about this extensively in the deck review. You open with 2 Potox almost every time, because you get 2 of these for 80 points. So even though they're not as fast as a car, they're only, 25% slower than a car, right? It depends which way you take it. The car is 33% faster, but this is half the price. So you can open with 2 of them instead of 1 car, and then you'll be ahead. Whereas if I just bought 1 car, sure, it's a bit faster. It would cap these 2 faster, but then it'd have to come all the way over here, and, the other Potok's going to get that. And then generally you end up with one of your zones being contested at the start, or there is a contestable zone, so one of the Potok stays forwards, and the other one ends up coming back to be with your artillery once you've got a solid picket line. 2 more Razvedka BTR-80s, one going here. I was really expecting him to attack down here, And then you see, you can actually shift queue up the order, so what I'm doing here is I'm clicking up here, clicking the card, clicking Y, and then clicking on the bill. Well, actually, no, I'm not. I'm clicking up here. That's if you're buying it during the game. At the start, you just place it on the ground, and then you click this, click Y, and then hold Shift, and then right-click over here, or press Q and right-click over here or something. Anyway, 1 for the middle, and 1 for over on the right. And you see I'm putting the BTR-80 Razvedka over here. so that I can see things as they come in, and you know, there's the potential that I can send it all the way around the side. Then, as you can see, it's a super defensive deployment, even though I'm doing the funny business with the SC-25, and that's because, you know, so let's imagine I'm not buying the SC-25. You should still open with a fighter. If you're not opening with two OSAs, you should open with a fighter and an OSA. And, you know, I'd just have an extra T-72 instead of that SC-25. They're about the same price. But you just want to defend. You want to defend and take trades. Defend and take trades. It's sadly, you know, it's not an S tier division. I'd rate it like B tier. Because there are other divs which get the medium tanks and stuff. There'll be a summary at the end, right? Strengths, weaknesses, that sort of thing. So, grenade launcher to here, because I really was expecting him to attack over here. Conkers, this is a tall building. That's super useful. Because it can see over the top of this building, right? So you can actually shoot all the way down this road. So that's a very, very useful building. And you'll see that almost immediately. Metis coming over here, I really was expecting him to attack over here. That ends up not happening. And the CV. My opponent is coming in on the left, right? And he's just got a bunch of tanks and terriers and Saxons and stuff. So honestly, if every game takes this long, this is going to be a very long guide, so I better hurry it up. Like I said, first time I've done one of these. Not sure how many examples I should have had in. So, jet comes out, it's on about 3 times speed, right? SU-25, what you do, you put this on defensive or aggressive. Because if it's on normal, it doesn't fire the missiles as much. Whereas if you put it on defensive or aggressive, it fires the missiles a lot more. Without you actually having to right-click stuff, but, you know, you right-click that, so we killed that. Basically what he should have done there is just smoked with that and backed. And just waited for the AA to show up. He's brought the Wombats, which is a terrible idea. I don't know why he's done that. Anyway, BTR-80 beats Saxon. It does cost twice as much. But it's got more armor and it's got 2 guns. So I should have got this in a building. But yeah, the SU-25 is coming in. I'm trying to get the Fox. I get the Fox. And then I should have turned into this Phantom here. And I do try turning into it. And you see that the Phantom is not great, but it achieves its goal of evac in the SU-25, and then, like, I'm pretty sure this doesn't die, because I get hit, and then, yeah, he survives, and then I'm pretty sure I die. Like, that's super unlucky. Oh no, I think I make it out, but the fact that that didn't die is pretty unlucky, actually. But it does happen. He had this on attack move, so you saw the missile just face planted there. You see the Conkers immediately, it can shoot at this, it can shoot at this. But you see the issue that it's like my div, I can't get the DPS out. I'm really struggling to kill all these things. The BTRs are, you know, alright against the infantry, but how do I kill the chieftains? That's what the SC-25 was for, but it got hit. So, you see the Hilo, I'm keeping it far back. I know about the Rapier, like I do have very good optics, so I think I can see it coming towards me, so I just run away. And you see, I'm using the LOS to get the BTRs to shoot without the chieftain shooting the BTRs. You see the Conkers can fire all the way down there, and I'm killing stuff, but he's got a lot of stuff. So, you see the Mi-24K, I'm using it. So for some reason he didn't bring any javelins. I told him after the game that was a terrible idea, because it allows me to just sort of mess him up. He does actually hit me here, but because this isn't fire and forget, I can just land, and I should be alright. For some reason this can't shoot that, but yeah, I survive. And you see the Conkers has actually fired all 6 rounds. I believe it hit 3, right? It killed a lot of the light vehicles, but these chieftains are a big problem. And this is the issue with this division. This division isn't that strong. And that's because in the early game you can really get pretty messed up. You see it was on an attack move there. If he just stopped it, it would have kept going. The Metis, I'm trying to kill the Rapier, but it's got smoke, so smart of him. This is the one from before, because it didn't actually die, it just got severely stressed out. Sadly, we missed there, and then for some reason I can't shoot that because of the smoke. I miss again, and then he hits me. And then he hits me again. So, you know, sometimes it'd be like that, right? Especially, like, divs that rely on a very small number of units, it's always very RNG dependent, and that's what's happening here. So, I have killed a lot of his guys. Anyway, you'll notice he's got like a huge number of things back here. These Wombats I really don't rate. I think he's just brought it because it's super cheap. Because it's 35 plus 25 for a Wombat and an infantry Wombat. but the wombat is bad, so there's a reason it costs so little, it's just not very good. So you see what I'm buying, Metis squads, Conkers for coming around the side here, and yeah, the Metis squads are great, because in this kind of environment, the Metis can work, because look, you can't get in this zone without being in Metis range, basically, obviously LOS and stuff. You see the BTR-80s, they take a while to kill. The Foxes at Nova are pretty bad, actually. And yeah, so one mistake I did make is not getting a supply up for this fast enough. The other issue you've got is once he takes this road can get hit, like especially once he gets to here, he can shoot down this road. But you see, I got a rocket helo, right? Like I said, he didn't bring any javelins, which was very silly of him. So he should really have a javelin here, because that would shoot that. It wouldn't kill it, but it'd mean that I can't just stand there and kill everybody. Because the only way you can kill it is by driving up this rapier, which has bad stealth, and it dies in one hit, and I've got metis everywhere, and I'm trying to snipe it. Using the BMP2s, I think that was maybe a side shot. And you see that, you know, the BMP2 can usually survive a hit. But yeah, I'm having a big problem killing all this. Thankfully, he's not pushing me here. If he had actually just sent, you know, one of these, well, I suppose this would have killed it, actually. So the double trouble finally get him. This is the Mega MiG, right? And yeah, he brings Assault Pioneers for no good reason. He should have brought the motorized scouts instead. Sorry, I've been having a problem with my monitor. It just sort of switches off sometimes. I'm getting a new cable tomorrow. But yeah, he's getting a Sultan round. And you see, I'm sending this Conkers up to here, because then he can't put the Sultan here, because I can kill him. But yeah, this guy, I should have hidden it behind the building instead of jumping up into the building. That was very silly of me. And you see, I just immediately get melted, because there's a lot of stuff there. So that's obviously not ideal. But yeah, the T-72, so we spoke about this, right? The T-72 can just sit there and take hits, but he will send a bomber to kill it. You need to make sure you've got fighters up or two OSAs behind there. This OSA being here is a big pain, but I can't get it over here. It would have to come around and all the way around, and I'm worried that he will actually try something here, right? If I was him, this bomber would have just blown this up, because it's right on the extended edge of my zone, right? So he does actually end up surviving again on like 1 HP. I was getting pretty upset at that point, I think. And you see, I'm trying to use the Metis, right? You can hide behind buildings and stuff to get side shots, and look, he does 1 damage to me. So he's got to be very careful. But he gets the CV in, right? He's on a lead. You see the BTR rate? You're seeing that, right? Because it's at 2 there. It's actually trading pretty well with the Fox. It's actually pretty incredible. So, you know, don't sleep on that. So yeah, the T-72 is getting a lot done. It's killing all the cheap crap. It kills the rapier, you know, shooting everybody, and then it gets side shot by a Malanta and dies. So you've really got to be careful of that happening. The Conkers, yeah, I'm still trying to sort stuff out over here. I should have sent the OSA forwards to kill that, but I mean, he's got this up here, and that's just going to shoot me. I tried to shoot this, but I fly over the enemy AA. It does have 40% ECM. Then for some reason this is here. I'm not quite sure how I managed that, but there it is. And then I believe this guy makes it out again, but so do we, I suppose. And yeah, you see the issue, right? He gets this, and you see now I've bought the artillery. I really wanted to send this back, but I was worried he would attack here, so I couldn't. This is a very, very important spot, so it cuts off. But you know, the point is to talk about the general game plan for the division, which is play slow, take trades, play slow, take trades, right? And obviously try not to tick, but I keep losing these tanks to side shots and stuff. It's really, really not great. Like this, that was like auto cover basically on the tanks, which I should just turn off. That's got me killed so many times. So he's in here, and I'm unfortunately, if you path things to here or here, they will come down this road, which is where he's got all his ATGMs. And yeah, so you get hit and just immediately land, right? If it's a spag or something, usually it just kills you, but he doesn't have spag. And you see this Conker's finally got some ammo, and you know, I'm trying to kill the AA. I'm trying to kill the AA so that I can use the bombers later, right? You should always focus enemy AA when you can. Obviously CVs first, right? Stuff that's trying to kill you first. The MP2 gets caught out there, that was a mistake. You see he's in a tall building as well. And I'm trying to shoot these, but I died. I mean, this is a dark fire and a rapier, so I guess it makes sense. And I know he's back here, I'm trying to hit him with the RT. You see I bought 2 RT, and I'm conscious of the fact that, yes, he's ticking on me, but I am a late game div, right? So, you see he kills the CV, and for some reason he doesn't send this out, but I believe it survives again. Yeah, it just gets out there, and it's like the 3rd or 4th time that's happened now. Still getting messed up by these Milan 2s. And I'm trying to get to this guy, right? So I do have a smoke mortar for that. Sorry, I've lost my monitor again. So basically I'm checking my preview on my other monitor. That should be sorted within a few days. And you see I'm, just trying to trade, and also, I do need to take this position so that he can't just stay in there and tick up. So, more ATGMs. And I thought he was behind this one, but he wasn't. So I shoot the smoke mortar, but honestly I should have had the smoke out before this guy ran across here, but thankfully he didn't have anybody in here to shoot me, so I do get in. The Gvardetsi aren't that amazing, but the idea is I'm just trying to spot him. So I see him, but he's got loads of stuff back here which can kill me quite quickly. So I just hide behind here and just wait for the artillery to come in, because I know where he is now, because I believe I can see him because of how close he is to me, and I've already spotted him. Also, I saw him when I was in the building. So, Conquers, I shouldn't be moving it, really. And, yeah, so hide behind the buildings. And I'm just trying to take trades, I didn't know this was in here. So he ends up side shooting me, and that's not good, so another mistake made, right? And so you'll see what I do next is I take the wide flank so that he can't... So the BMP2s, they could trade with the strikers. I take a super wide flank, and I just RT'd the dark fire. You see, he had so many rapiers and stuff here, and they're all just dying one at a time. And now my plan is I need to get this back, because if I'm in here, he can't hide in here, right? That's the idea. The MP2 gets taken out by all the side shots and stuff, and yeah, so send this forwards, right? This guy does a lot of work, actually, Nikolai. This guy, yeah, I think he ends up dying, but you see, you don't have like high HP, kind of cheap, spammy infantry. This guy gets out again, and okay, so sorry, just missed something big there. So I knew about the CV, right, because it was hiding in this zone and I could see it. So I spoke about this in the deck review. HE bomber first, cluster bomber behind. And that is how you do it, right? That is how you do it. And so at this point, I'm trying to take this position back. He's still ticking up though, right? I need to get to a zone. I need to sort this out, and I need to get to a zone. So I'm trying to get around to here. But because I've been killing all his AA with my 1-vet Akatsias with a CV next to them, so they're 2-vet, so I can, shoot basically once a minute, a 2-vet, a volley a minute, something like that. Yeah, anyway, I should have had the Osas with the tanks, like, behind them, but, like, here, but they don't have smoke or anything, and they're kind of expensive. But if I'd had them back here, this wouldn't have happened, or at least I would have avenged it. If I'd killed that guy the last 3 or 4 times he'd come round, But who knows? Who knows? And so, yeah, we're still in a position where if the game ended right now, we'd lose, right? But you can see that I've been taking some nice trades, but maybe not as nice as I would have wanted it to be. I just lost my monitor again. This is getting a bit silly now. Anyway, I could see this guy because of this. So he gets the CV in, and you'll notice I'm using the bombers with the fighter in front, right? And the cluster bomber, we spoke about this, the cluster bomber also works against infantry because of how big the payload is, even though it's cluster. So I sent the HE bomber out first to get shot, right? And I wanted this right behind, but it's all lost in targeting, so I do kill it. And I do survive there, probably because this building's breaking his LOS. The Osas I shouldn't have had clumped up. And, yeah, I think if he'd had a javelin, this wouldn't have been doing so well. And so he does end up moving that, because I do immediately try and artillery it, as you can see. And then, so this is what we were speaking about in the deck review, then the Mi-8 rockets come in. So this is the point. I can never get over here. All his units are there, right? And so this is really the only place I can go. Nothing's been happening over here. And if you recall, I did actually have a fighter that flew this way at some point in this game, and nothing shot it. So I'm going for my my Hail Mary, but you know, I have high confidence that there's not really going to be anybody here. So yeah, he does have a Darkfire with a Sultan next to it. So it's at 1 vet. And I believe it hits me twice, or like it gets like some kind of weird double kill or something. No, okay. But yeah, immediately the bombers, because I've been keeping them alive, goes on the AA, right? And then I have a fighter up, and it's all healers and fighters, right? The fighter kills the Jaguar, and then another fighter for the other Jaguar, right? The bombers keep coming in. That Jaguar makes it out. I don't it happens. The artillery's coming in, right? Obviously there will be targets here I can shoot, but the artillery should be helping where the stuff is. What I should have done is had a smoke mortar here. You see that's coming here now, but that should have been here when this happened. And, you know, he had AA here, I killed it. Although it was only one piece, right? Because nothing was happening here for the whole game. And so now we can get through, get the wombat here, you know. Get that one. Get that chieftain, right? And then, yeah, basically the game's over, right? So then I take this, and he's struggling to keep up. But I basically have this zone. He's counter pushing me here. He is getting somewhere, but he's got no AA left because I killed it all, and I killed all his fighters, and so I just keep strafing stuff, right? The helicopters can go to town on him, and I'm pretty sure I kill all his CVs as well. So that's example 1. This guide's going to be quite a long one. I'm rank 11, he was rank 15, but he lost, so I think I was rank 12 at the time. And now we'll go to example 2. Right, so this is example 2, Hippie versus Zon Box. He's an OG, he's been playing for a very, very long time. You see we do the funny opener, MI24K, SU25, MiG-23P. We're both playing the same division, by the way. And so I just kill his whole forward deployment. Now, I was speaking in the deck review about somebody who had 2 vet OSAs. These things just don't miss all game. It's like they've got 100% accuracy. It's only 65, but so he shoots twice there, and he hits twice, and then he shoots a 3rd time, and he hits a 3rd time and a 4th time. So that's cool. You know, 100% accuracy OSAs. It does happen, right? And then, so we 2v1 him there, and then he shoots a 5th time, and he hits a fifth time, and then he shoots a 6th time, and he does actually miss. Incredible. But that's actually because he was on attack move, and I'd left the range, and so the missile immediately faceplanted him. So, 100% accuracy OSAs. But, yeah, as you can see, the general deployment is actually pretty similar. We got Spetsrazvedka, Razvedka BTR-80s, Meta squads, Conkers, grenade launchers. I was too aggressive here. Basically, I saw that I had killed some of his stuff with the SU-25, and I was like, great, I should go in. That was a mistake. I should have stayed in these buildings, because he quite appropriately counters this with a MiG-21 BIS HE. So on these narrow maps, it can make sense to open just 2 T-72s and 2 OSAs, right? I mean, that's not a bad idea. I'm trying to like side shot him here and stuff. He has managed to get through to here, so like basically this opener's gone really badly. The MiG-21 cluster can, you know, kill that, and then the OSAs have fired 7 times now and hit 7 times. So I was pretty upset at this point. It's like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, I should have gone for this one as opposed to the back one, because then I wouldn't have died. This thing dies, right? So this is going pretty terribly, actually, frankly, isn't it? But Metis, right, I'm just trying to light him up for the bomber, basically. That's all. So bomber should be coming in now, because he's like way overextended. So we kill that, and we got a fighter out for his fighter. His fighter went on my bomber. His fighter does actually make it out. This thing came over this and didn't die. But yeah, basically he's got mid, but you know, he only bought 1 C. So this is why. So he went for the 80.1 CV, and I went for the 40.2 CVs. And you see that I've got a 400-point lead on him. Oh, well, okay, that's not true, but it goes up to about 300, right? So this is some fancy footwork. I actually did a separate guide on how to use a BTR-80. So I knew the range was short. I knew this was an ACGM because it had shot at me. And so I just ran up here, smoked, and then fast moved through the smoke. BTR-80s are very good. And so then now he's minimum ranged, so he can't shoot. And I can just kill that. And then I go hunting for the Belazar, and I'm like, oh, that's because I know about this because of the Spetsrazvedka. So I'm like, okay, I'll go over here. I know there's some Osas back here, right? You can't shoot me with the bomber because I keep going through the buildings and stuff. And I get back here and I managed to kill the Osa, right? So this thing's basically paid for itself 4 times over. It does get me with the rocket. I tried to go under it, but it can fire slightly under itself. He does snipe one of my tanks there, and then he sort of misses my infantry there. But I am missing him a lot. His Osa finally missed something. Incredible, incredible. So we 2v1 his jet there, and his jet, I believe it makes it out. No, I kill it, okay. But yeah, our plan now is to try and get this back. So I buy the artillery for these small teams. You can use these to strafe little guys, so I got that 30mm there, right? I figured 40% ECM, he won't get shot. But this Osa of Doom, the Doom Osa with its 100% accuracy, I mean, sorry, just too mad, I suppose. Anyway, you know, these are the sort of things you can just send around to go check stuff out. They're only 50 points, right? I didn't know about this. This explains a lot, actually. You see the AA guns you can use here, so like, this is a really good spot, this is a really good spot, this is a really good spot. Just in the trees, they're really nice. And you see we've got these fallback positions, right? This is a nice one. So is this, because it lets you shoot all the way down. You know, you get shot and you have to hide. Sadly, we just missed twice in a row there, but, you know, it's alright. These things happen. Sometimes you get very, very unlucky. So, trying to run away from this guy, and you see I'm using the BTR-80 to try and shoot him. The RT, I think was going on that T-72 maybe, but you see I've slowly got back in here, right? He does kill my fighter with his cheaper fighter, but I think it was probably the Doomosa. And then this bomber, that was a bad idea, I shouldn't have done that. As soon as I saw the fighter on the enemy fighter, I should have just run away. That was very silly of me. Keep in mind I didn't kill this either, this got evac'd. But yeah, you know, these things, they happen. And you see the BRM-1K, right, will kill this extremely slowly, whereas the BTR-80 will kill it much faster, so actually I should have just sent this over here to shoot him. But the AA guns, as you can see, with the 50% damage reduction is still very good. Never sleep on the smoke mortars, this is here for a good reason, and that's because I can just smoke. Because I'm on this side and he's on this side, well, you know, I don't want to die, so I will just smoke here and just go in there. So these things struggle to like re-attain targets and stuff, so like if you smoke and fast move down a road and stuff like that, you usually make it. This thing, I'm not sure what it was going on at all, because it hasn't dropped its bombs and it's not been given an order. Sometimes they do that, they just sort of freak out. So I lose another bomber there. I mean, this is, you know, obviously not great, but I'm showing you what would happen in a real game, right? So he's trying to bomb me here, but he doesn't know exactly where I am. He almost gets me. And you can hear the Akatsiya firing away, right? I've only got one pot up because the other one died here, so and I don't want to spend 80 points for a CV just for my Akatsiya. And this I'm trying to heal up. So he double kills me there, you don't want to bunch up. Saperi RPO are out of RPO. You see the BTR-80s, right? Constantly using these BT. Look how good they are against the infantry. Just because it's not an IFV doesn't mean it's not good against infantry. Oh, it needs an autocannon. Actually, it's pretty good against infantry. So now I've finally got my Osas up, and mine don't hit anything. But his were at 2 vet, but you'd expect at least 1 hit there. That was a bit silly of me. It was like a 3v1. I think I was going on this and he intercepted me, so I'm playing pretty badly, right? But I am pushing him back here, and I am on the +1, right? But yeah, you saw that the double cheap CV at the start compared to the 1 fast CV, like that was immediately, oh crap, I've lost my vision again, I need to sort this out. The main issue I've got is that I can't really kill these. You see, I'm using the BMP2s, and at 2 vet it's not so bad, right? You get it around, try and shoot people. So I can just sort of make him go away with Conkers and stuff. So he's pushing me with regular Gvardetsi. And you see, you know, you try and thread the needle with the BTR-80s and stuff. They've only got 500 meters range, but he does end up killing one of mine there, and he's actually not dying, so it's not great. I really need to sort this out, man. My monitor keeps flicking off. So at this point, I now have 3 Osas. So whenever his bombers come in, I'm killing them because I've got 3 Osas and an Igla here. And this is what we spoke about in the strat. This is the kind of place second Y wants to be fighting. The only issue is that he's doing the same thing. He's the same div and he's doing the same thing. But the idea is the fighter comes in and all the Osas kill it. You see, he was doing the same thing to me. Sorry, the bomber. So, gotta be very careful with your bombers, right? He's just wasting them now. He's making big mistakes. That's a good spot, right? The grenade launcher gets me. He's got an Akatsuya back here. Saperi RPO, you always want a supply behind them because they'll fire all the RPOs like within a minute. Reload time 3 seconds. So it'll be gone within 20 seconds, you'll fire it more. This thing, I'm trying to survive, but I wasn't fast enough, so he gets me. And here you see like the metis are super useful, right? This is a nice defense. Osa conquers BMP2 with infantry and meta squad. Toad AA gun and an Igla. Obviously a bit much AA, but I'm expecting basically he should be using his bombers here, because here is where all the AA should be. As you can see, I tried to use my bombers here, but he was covering it with fighters, so that was less useful. Got some Conquers back here, and the idea is just take trades and stuff. You see how powerful this thing is, so is this the part where he does it? So he fires the gun at me. No, this isn't it. But you see how powerful this thing is. Obviously it costs a lot. I'm using the Akatsuyas to snipe his infantry, right? So I guess he knew where I was going. Or I'm sure how he managed that. Must be this CNL or something. Yeah, he must have seen it go in or something. So he ends up getting me there. And yeah, I lose the supply and the Conkers and the Mi-8 rocket because it has to take off, and then the Ultra Osa, Mr. Klimintinov here with his 0% miss chance, gets me. So the Belazor's coming in, and he's trying to hide it behind there, but I know it's there because I see it coming through here, right? I can see here because of the Spetsrazvedka, so... And this is the issue with the Belazor compared to the Potok. So honestly, if you want to bring that Chaika thing, you can. For 20 points more, it would have survived that hit. Now, check this out, right? So I fire the gun. He's firing the gun. This is advanced tactics, right? You need to learn this. And I've lost my vision again. Oh, I hate this so much. So look, so he aims, he fires, and then he switches off the tank gun so he can fire the Invar. Absolutely incredible play. Absolutely incredible play. Honestly, this game alone I could make like 3 separate short videos of. And you see, he's winning now because he just... Look at that. I mean, obviously there's a second tank there, but that's the power of micro, and I've got to leave. And that's the tricking. The tricking. So I do need to make a separate video of that. Maybe you've already seen it. Because, yeah, that's a great learning. And the thing with the 1 CV versus 2 CVs, like these cheap CVs are so useful. Anyway... The smoke mortar, so useful, so useful. You see he's going for it, but I've got the MTLB here. It's not close enough, it should be closer. And I was actually aiming for this unspeakable one, but he put the CV, because popular CV spot is behind this building, and the other one is behind this building, on his side. On my side, you basically have to smoke it and get in. Like, you can hide in here if you want, but they can see you. And you can hide behind this, but they'll see you come in. So if you're on this side, you basically have to smoke. But you have 4 buildings and they only have 2, so that's an advantage. But it's easier for them to push up here than it is for me to push there or there, right? And this is quite exposed. So the red side is worse on the flanks, but the blue side, but it's better in the middle, right? The blue side's weaker in the middle. But you see, right, because look, I load it back up and it doesn't die because I load it back up. And you pop the smoke and you don't hide right in the middle because that's where they explode it. So this I'm trying to kill because I could see it, right, because the Spetsrazvedka. T-64B, pretty cool, and then I get some more good luck. My engine gets destroyed so I can't move anymore. And I can't smoke because this is routed. So, oh dear. But yeah, look, he does it again. He does it again. And that's how he wins that fight. I need to do a separate video on this. He's just beating me every time because of this idea. And look at that 25 AP missile. It's a TOW 2. It's a tandem TOW 2. And then this guy, he can't move because he's just bad at the video game, right? So now he's bringing the OSA forward, so I move this back. I did try and smoke that, but I was too slow. The SU-25 just immediately gets lit up because he had an OSA in here, which hit me straight away, but it's okay, we'll stop complaining about it now. So look, I load it in here, and then, you know, one Akatsuya can't kill me, basically, although I should be moving it. A bit silly of me. I've got 2 Akatsuyas. I should be putting the... Yeah, the Potok goes to them now, because now I've got an actual CV for over here. Still trying to shoot this guy. He's on the +1 now, and you know, basically he shouldn't be attacking here. This is very silly. He should be attacking all in here, right? If all this was here, then what would I do about it? But he's coming into the town, and I've got Saperi RPO. You see the TAEU, I'm basically doing 1 damage per shot. Many BMP2s, so he is getting somewhere, but this fire support can't help him in the depth of the town. So it's almost like there's an invisible wall here, and like none of this can do anything. So I think this was a mistake from him. Or all this should be coming around here, and then you like smoke this and try and run in. But you see I've got the rock. This thing you got to keep very, very safe, because you've only got 1 Conquer's thing in my deck build. And you see the BTR-80s I'm trying to keep alive a bit, but that's obviously a mistake. I should have a supply with this to heal it up. He doesn't seem to have any Saperis, which I think is a big mistake. I've now got 2 smoke mortars. And yeah, we go back in. This won't be able to kill me, unless he side shots me. And I see it coming in, so I know what to expect. These have smoke, so you can smoke. This thing I just load up again, right? And yeah, this if he's front shotting me, so I'm trying to face towards him, right? And I just kill him, I'm pretty sure. So he should have dropped this on me, really. But he was going for this massive tank blob, so I split everybody up, and then the Osus kill the tank, right? You can't intercept it, you can only avenge it. The fighters can intercept it. Saperi RPO, you'll notice he doesn't seem to bring those. That's a big mistake. You need to bring that. So that's a great showcase of why that needs to be in the deck. The tricking thing, though, is obviously much better at. I know the CV's there because I saw it. My Spetsros Vedka. Sadly, I believe this does end up going down. And then... so that... I'm not sure what happened there. It was a side shot, I guess. Oh, well, there's lots of tanks here. Anyway, this is the dumbest thing ever, right? So auto cover will prioritize getting into cover over shooting the enemy. So I know this is here, and I'm like, I'll go through and take a shot at him, right? So I cancel my attack move order, and then it immediately shows its... So that's obviously very bad, right? Over here, the BMP2s, I'm slowly trying to clean them out. The TAEU, you see I'm getting messed up. He's tricking me again, right? Very intelligent gameplay. The AA guns are so good, I don't know why he doesn't bring those. Don't know why he doesn't bring the RPO. So this is really useful, because you're seeing why everything's in the deck, and what happens if it's not in the deck. So, you know, if you appreciate this kind of video, do let me know. I understand that this is a much longer one. But at this point, basically, he's just sort of out of time. Like, he is on a +1. I think he's taking better trades than me. That tricking thing I didn't know about. I lost 2 kilos there to the... This isn't even the upverted one. They've all got dumb names, but... Anyway, so I'm trying to focus the enemy AA, right, because I want to use my bombers, but he's moved it, so that's smart of him. Got to move everything constantly. More Gvad IC, but... Okay, so that was a side shot, maybe? No. It was not. It was... It was a front shot, so I only got 1 damage on him. And then... Yeah, basically, he... With his 0 vet stuff and the fact that I was losing all my stuff, he does actually end up pushing me out of mid. But he needs way more points if he wants to win the game, so he has to do this. He doesn't really have a choice. He can't push here because all the guys are there, so he's going for the mid. This was obviously a mistake. They should have unloaded about here. And you see, like, if he goes this far, then I can side shot him, right? That's why I'm hiding behind this building. Obviously, this is a problem. More T-72s. So he ends up, like, he's winning the tank fights because he's just better at tanking than me. I didn't know about this tricking thing. I mean, I did, but I didn't know you could do it in Warno. I didn't think about it, basically. But yeah, you see, he has to make these Hail Mary pushes, which means, like, you know, he loses a TAEU there because of the side shots. Doesn't really have a choice, and this is the perfect time to use your bombers. So if only I hadn't wasted my bombers, but yeah, that didn't aim in time or whatever. So look, double hate. So the cluster would kill it, but I think I'm out of those, so I do double HE because 1 isn't enough. And you see that even 2 wouldn't have been enough there, but this was shooting as well. This guy's still engaged, and you see I'm not doing too much damage here, but so this really... Okay, can't actually see me. So, yeah, I'm just getting outplayed on the tank trades. But you see my general kind of strategy was pretty good. Right, and now he's he's basically lost, right? Because he's now massively overextended. I can send in the helicopters because the Osas aren't here, but he doesn't have enough left here. So that once again, the auto cover got me killed. Yeah, he's trying to like sneak stuff through and stuff, and the fighters, you know, this is out of ammo, but we do have some ZUs there, so they managed to get that final hit or whatever. And you know, I'm making a lot of mistakes, but so is he, and we're counter-attacking, and you know, we've because he had to overextend so much to try and get the points he needed. At this point, if the game went on another 5 minutes, I'd win, because all this stuff's coming back in and he can't really stop me. You know, he's making some mistakes. I've got more tanks than him now. Even with my terrible micro, I should still win. Double bombed the CV there again. HE bomber in front, cluster behind, or it might have just been double HE. So that's the next example. So Zonbox, he's really good. He's got a similar number of games as me. This is not representative of his skill. He should be higher rank. So that was example 2. I was originally going to do like 10 examples. I don't think that's a good idea, so I'll do 2 more. An example of what happens if you don't do the funny opener. So here I am against Cardinal Sin. He's playing 35th US. And you see I do still open with the cheap fighter. Sadly, it does end up missing its first missile. And he does this funny Huey thing. So sadly we didn't manage to intercept any of those because I had micro basically, so I ended up killing that one, but I get hit by the Rolands. This is like an Osa but better. And you see, because he was on an attack move order there, it would have kept tracking for 2 seconds if he wasn't on an attack move order there. And you got to make sure the auto covers off. Because yeah, the Osa costs more, and it just, I suppose it does 1 more damage, but this is better. But it's only got salve length of 2, whereas this can fire all 6 fairly quickly, so they are different. And this is reservist, which doesn't matter much. But you see the Spetsrazvedka, 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 so sometimes you open with all 4. I wanted to do an opener where this would have been a great time to do the heli thing, but I wanted to show you what happens if you don't do it. So, you know, Osa fighter, or 2 Osas, Osa fighter, and I'm trying to secure this position. And I'm just going to play it super slow. So I buy 2 of these, right, because that's the price of 1 mutt, right? So he can only take 1 zone, I can take 2 zones, it's very important. I buy an early bomber, which was a mistake actually, I shouldn't have done that. Because this is only going to kill 1 thing, and it doesn't even kill it, and then it gets hit, so I'm not going to see it for about 7 minutes. So that was a huge mistake actually, that should have just been a BMP too, so... But yeah, this is basically an ideal case in that I just want to play slowly and take trades for 20 minutes. That's all I really want to do as this div. And after this, I'll give you an example of what happens in a not ideal case, and that will showcase very clearly the weaknesses of this division. So you see that the Razvedka BTR-80 against 2 of these, the Razvedka BTR-80 is winning, because the KPVT is better, it's got more armor. It does cost as much as both of these, actually. And these will, I think, eventually win. You got to make sure it doesn't target switch. So you see the advantage of the MI8 rockets. A lot of people, for whatever reason, don't like bringing manpads. Although this guy does have stingers. You know, he's relying on this Roland thing, which means I can just sit back here. You notice I'm on low altitude, so I landed my guy and then I swapped to low altitude because I know that this is going to shoot me if I stand up. And you see the BTR-80s are coming in, the T-72's there. I've got Osas behind and fighters behind. This Osa should really be transferred over to here. This T-72 was for here because I thought he'd rush here at the start with like a bunch of M60s, but it is what it is. And you see this BTR-80 is winning. I mean, it isn't a defensive, you know, it's in cover and it costs the same as these 2, right? But that was a terrible idea, that was really dumb, but I was like 40% ECM, so no problem, and then he gets shot twice and hit twice, so it does happen. But if he'd unloaded this Ihawk, he would have got more hits. This, I guess, was in the wrong building, because if it was in this one, he never would have got in, but it should still win, because this is a 4-man team, and this is a 6-man team. Though I can't use my SVD. Tries to bring that round, and it just immediately shoots him. I can't use this because oh, he's not actually got AT, so I could have sent this up to here, but I figured there was somebody in there, especially when it starts shooting at me. But you see, I move it because you're just threading that needle between these buildings. Osa kills the Tow Cobra in 1 hit, and you see he is actually taking the ground because early game he is better, but late game I win. So the idea is just don't lose too many guys, win the trades, win the trades. So, see the AT plane coming, so I smoke. And then he does have a seed, so the seed kills me, so that was smart of him. So, I think I end up buying a... Yeah, so that the fire comes out now. That could have been a little bit faster, frankly. So, we've now got a fighter out, because that can stay out for 4 minutes while we wait for more AA to show up. And I eventually lose the Mi-8 rocket, right? But you see how useful these things are at just killing infantry. Because you do struggle with the DPS on this division. Like, you do, but this is why you need the man-pads, because these things, and same with the OSA, they're not cheap, and they're very easy to kill, and you got to drive them around everywhere. So I was deliberately trying to kill that. I saw this come up, and I was like, I need to kill, because I could see it with this. I was like, I need to kill that. They'll be coming for this guy. And yeah, like I'm pushing too aggressively here. You'll notice my main... Look, these aren't dying. I'm sending them back. They're not dying. So... yeah, I'm trying to get the angles to use my fire support, because in an inf versus inf fight I'm going to lose, right? I'm trying to get a Metis up to here, right? Restock this. T-72 coming out, because I had the Metis up here, so I sort of knew. But I don't want to get flank shot in. And you see, you know, I'm just taking the trades. You see, he does like 1 damage to me, and I do a lot more than 1 to him. I obviously cost a lot more. BTR-80s again, engaged. Dragon shoots me, so I just reverse. And then he immediately is like, oh, I've got to run away. And you see the advantage of the Mi-8 rockets again, right? Super useful. He's using a mortar to just hit me, and honestly, it actually worked reasonably well. Obviously, you want to use it for smoke, but if there's nothing to smoke, you might as well just do that. The Katsia's come out. I got the National Guard leaders' rifles there. You see I'm sending the BTRs. I got this round to here, and honestly, I should have actually used it for something, because, like, imagine if I had it there, and then... I was waiting for Big Artie to show up, but I just end up forgetting about it, basically, because Big Artie does show up and I don't do anything. So the Potok, right? 1 Potok should be free. Because, yeah, 1's active and 1's not, and so send that to the Acacia. Now the Acacia's at 2 vet. So I go for the Huey, the Duster. These are pretty decent against infantry. The Eyehawk does hit me there, right? So that's a problem. I forgot he got Eyehawks, because I don't bring them on 24th or 35th or whatever, but look. So I spoke about this in the deck review. HE bomber first, cluster bomber second. Because the I was expecting the HE bomber to get hit, but it didn't. He didn't unload this, which was a mistake, because this can one-shot these. Because yeah, these will die in 1 hit, so I was expecting this to die and this to kill the thing. Honestly, it was an unnecessary risk. I didn't have to take that risk. All I have to do is keep trading, just keep trading, keep trading. So I've got my firing line here, right? And, you know, I outrange his jets. This is nice at close range, but I get the range advantage. And yeah, this basically, I should have just sent this to go kill, but I just forgot. So I'm quite content to just let it go late, because eventually, you know, all my tanks are going to kill him. So the BTR-80s I'm trying to send around the sides and stuff, like this is in a really good spot. The Mi-8 rocket, you know, I'm using to just snipe infantry units and then go back. It's very hard for people, because, like, let's say this dies to a jet, and I kill the jet because I've got an OSA here and I've got fighters up or whatever, then, you know, it's only 95 points, and the jet's like 200, so... Also, this is 6 per guard, so... Very, very useful against infantry-heavy compositions. Against vehicles, it's not so great. But look, so he does end up doing that. And because he's right-clicked on this, it doesn't actually... fire its seed missile, but he does get me there. This should have been out as opposed to bringing it out after the fact. You see the triple Metis conquers, whatever, but I missed. So yeah, this should have stayed here. As soon as this fired, I should have brought this over to kill it. I just wasn't looking. So we find out what kills this guy. I was like, what killed that? But I guess, yes, if he can see my recon, but I figured I'm exceptional optics, but that was obviously a bit silly of me. I don't know why he brings the Sewi, they're not very good. So, I thought his AA was dead, but he still had more AA. I mean, that was a bit silly of me, really. I'm using my... I need to just chill out a bit more. This should have gone on the Roland as opposed to on that random infantry unit, but there it is. And, yeah, so, you know, he's got more units, but I'm just trying to take good trades. As soon as his guys show up, they get killed by 10 Guerrillian BTR-80s. You saw how fast that died. And, you know, get in the corner, right? Because, yeah, my infantry is expensive and not very good. The Tokobra overextended, like, if it's all on the way on this side, then you can just go kill it, and this fighters don't have the range. I outrange his fighters, so if I just... But yeah, this was a mistake, right? And then this wasn't switched on, so I end up making a big boo-boo here, because he just comes in and kills this, and, like, if this was switched on, or if I'd landed, that wouldn't have happened, and he would have died easily if this had been on all that time, because he flew over it, like, twice. But yeah, you see the idea. I mean, obviously I am losing stuff, but look how much he's losing compared to me. I'm just trying to take good trades, keep the guys alive, right? I believe this guy does end up dying. If anything, I'm actually playing too aggressively. All I gotta do is just keep killing his stuff, right? But yeah, look, that can survive a tank hit. A 17 pen at that range, apparently. And it can survive that, because it's kinetic, so... that would have one-shot me, I suppose. I'm not sure how we can see that, because of this. That would have one-shot me on the side armor. You see, I'm using my own mortar just as HE, because I don't have anything to smoke. I suppose I could be smoking this. These guys, I don't want to fly over this Roland, but I do end up flying over it. And so that was a mistake as well. Like, the OSA's not switched on, so I decided to try and put one up here so I can keep shooting him. But yeah, look, he moves forwards, T-72 kills him. This is super good against infantry because it's 1.25 HE because of the caliber, and it's got an NSVT, and it's got PKT. So it's obviously a lot of money. But yeah, I've also got grenade launcher here, AA guns I'm bringing up now. So I should have done that a bit earlier, but you get the idea, right? Just make it so that, you know, obviously this should be shooting this, really. I guess he doesn't know exactly where it is. But he should do. And yeah, the Conkers, you know, making him die for stuff. BMP2s at 2-vet coming out now, right? If you get RT'd, you move. And you see the 2-vet BMP2s. They're not actually that much better than 1-vet BMP2s. It's not like the Gazelle cannons, which just suddenly get way better. He's sending out a Guerrillian jets with stuff behind. So I thought this... Oh, he's made a mistake, but then I realised, oh, that's to... But yeah, that was a mistake because these aren't going on the... So yeah, he ends up losing a lot of planes there in exchange for one tank. And that's sort of what this div's about, right? I should be bleeding out his planes, not the other way around. Because I do believe this guy makes it out, because he's 40% ECM, and the IHOP's out of ammo anyway. And the one that was over here, I think he moved over here, right? And I did kill one. And you see the, you know, with the vet and everything, just slowly moving up. I mean, obviously I'm taking losses, but slowly moving up. And then eventually, you know, we get the zone. Obviously, yeah, he's on a +1, but it's about the trades, right? Obviously don't lose too many points, because you just run out of time. But yeah, you got to play it super slow, and then, like, that's the collapse, right? So then I sent this over to try and kill this. Now I'm attacking over here because, you know, it's because of the trades. He took so many bad trades that now he's just got nobody anywhere, and now I can push everywhere and win. So you see, you know, it's all blue. I'm sending these guys all the way around. I did try and kill that, but I messed up, I suppose. And yeah, you see, because of the 18 armor, I mean, they're all like reservists and stuff, but so yeah, maybe I will try bringing 2 at 2-vet, because I mean, look at this. Right, he's not, because he can't hit anything because he's at no whatever. Then he shows his side to try and make it fair. Nobody's hitting anybody, but if I was at 2-vet, I wouldn't be, you know, I'd keep my cohesion a bit longer, but at this point the fight's over because he took too many bad trades. I was going to send these around, right? BTR 80s go super fast through the forest, so do end up losing that, but look at all the blue, right? Look at all the blue. So now I'll show you what happens when things don't go right, and you see the double bomber strat there. But yeah, look at the trades. It's because I was just playing for trades. I should have played for trades better and not lost the bombers, but it is what it is. Right, so I wanted to show you one of the key weaknesses of this div, and why I'd say this div is very mid, right? It's fun to play, but it's very mid, and that's because, as I keep saying, at the start of the game, or just for all the game, you don't have a lot of DPS. You just can't kill stuff very quickly. Now, against infantry-heavy formations, sort of got it covered with the AA guns, the grenade launchers, the BMP2s, and, you know, the helicopters with the rockets. But against light vehicle formations, this div really struggles. So this is Tomato Addicted. He's like rank 10 or something. and he's got like 9 fighters, and his idea is I'm just going to run at him all game. Now I knew that I couldn't do the funny SU-25 opening against this div because he has airborne forward deployed AA in the form of the Vibs, and you'll notice he's bringing it up 2-vet. It's interesting actually. Do they come at 2-vet by default? Oh, hang on, how does that work? Yeah, they probably do just come at 2-vet by default, actually, because otherwise you'd only have 4, and there's 5 there. So anyway, so I couldn't do the funny opener, and so I opened with a fighter in case he's doing a heli drop, but he opened with 2 fighters of his own, right? He kills me, I killed one of his, but his are 80 points and mine's 175. So it was just because, you know, he had, they were coming at different angles. If they were straight on, maybe I would have made it, who knows. Obviously, there's some RNG in there. It had 2 missiles. It fired twice. It hit twice. But such is life. And then he immediately buys 2 more jets, and he's got like 9 jets. And so I bought this to try and kill these Super Pumas, but he bought 2 more jets. So this time I am straight on, and, you know, nobody dies there. But he's got in, which is a really big problem, actually. Because, like I said, this div really, really, really struggles to just kill swarms of stuff. So at this point, like, what do I do? The Commandos de l'air obviously are absolutely cracked. They're the best part of the division. And I can't really kill them. I can't bring the helicopters. I can't bring the bombers because he's got loads of planes. He just keeps buying the planes. And I really struggle against this kind of trash spam. Like, this div just isn't very good against that. So I'm using the Conkers and stuff. And his infantry just beats the crap out of mine. What I should have done, because I was trying to like move up to, you know, to here to cut the reinforcements, but the EBR 90s are really good at dealing with these BTR 80s. They cost more, but the point is that, you know, my thing is that I'm fast. Well, he's faster, and he can kill me because he's got more armor and a better gun. So even though 152 easy is like, I would say it's like the worst division in the game, but it's not terrible because, you know, due to all the buffs, there are no terrible divs anymore. But you see the issue with this div, right? Whereas if I was playing a div that had like 100-point tanks, so I'm trying to get around him there, but he's got Milan 1s everywhere with Vab Milans, so I can't flank him either because of the cheapness of his units. Send a BTR 80 up here, but a Vib kills it, which, I mean, okay. Quite surprised by that, actually. I suppose it's at 2-vet. It's 1200 meters. I suppose if I was at max range, I'd win, but because I just sort of snuck up on him, and he's yeah, okay, whatever. Bid beats BTR 80. Over here, he never seems to send these planes out by themselves, and I don't kill him, so yeah, that's not ideal. And I can't kill his inf, and I can't kill these. Because the only way I really could is with a 200-point... so, like, buying this was probably a mistake. Or well, it's good against the Commandos de l'air. So you only have to kill 2 for it to pay for itself. I wanted to come in here. Like, that was a mistake. I should have played as narrow as humanly possible. But I can't win this fight. Because I need to stop him from reinforcing. The only way I can do that is with a 200-point tank, which he can blow up with his planes. Right? This would kill the tank. And he's got some cluster stuff as well. So you see the issue with the division. There's obviously stuff I could be doing better, but and you see I got this round, and you know I could have sent it up to here and actually deployed it, but I can't beat him in the town. He has better town stuff, and I can't beat him in the open simply because my tank can only be in one place, and it has to be protected by 2 OSAs, and it's actually still going to die. It's just I would kill the plane and then I buy another tank, and I don't have time to do that. Because, yeah, so like one T-72 here would kill stuff, but the bomber would just come and kill it. And then I'd have to buy another T-72, and that'd take a lot of time to get there. Buying these bombers, I mean, the idea was I need to kill these Commandos de l'air, and I can't kill them through conventional means. Could have had an OSA here, right? But this is where it's like 79Y would do so much better against this, because not only do you have the T-55 O's or whatever they're called, the flamethrower tanks for the early game, but you also have Cubs, and this would just get one-shot by a Cub. It doesn't get one-shot by an OSA. So the Cubs would just slowly be killing these, although he does have 9 of them, because they're 3 per card, and he's got 3 cards. The AA1, the AA2, and the AA. But yeah, if I was something like 16th Belgium, or Canada, anything with Leopard 1s, like Leopard 1s would clean this up. And the T-72 would clean this up, it's just it costs twice the price to do the same thing but worse, in terms of, obviously it's more survivable against these, but it would still die to the plane. And so, yeah, you can see immediately the problem with the division, right? And 152 easy is not really regarded as a strong division, but, this game's already over. Obviously, it'd be nice if I could, kill the enemy, and it looks like we do get them there. But yeah, this game ended as soon as he got in here, essentially, because I can't go anywhere here because he can defend the ground so cheaply, and I can't. Obviously, these can outmaneuver me, right? You see, it comes over here, that sort of thing. But yeah, the reason I'm not buying the T-72 is because it would immediately die. But I do need it to kill these, but then it would die. So you got to sort of use a BMP2 to outrange him. But because of the lines of sight, he's not using it in a silly place. There should have been an OSA here, right? But you see the issue, that the div is slow. And against super rapid attack divs like this, because you see, yeah, I can ATGM him, but I can't use that offensively. And I can try and use the Metis squads, which is what I was trying to do, and I get a couple of them. But what I need is a T-72, and then to have that T-72 not die to a plane, and that's not possible until I've killed all his planes. So as you can see now, he's blobbing, and I basically just lost at the start. I was just trying to figure out what happened here. These, I think, they don't drop all the time either, which is kind of annoying. So I lost vision and it didn't drop, but I think I'd already bought those. Otherwise, it's kind of a poor purchase. But yeah, I can't kill this stuff. So you see, I'm still sort of clinging on, right? And I'm killing his stuff, but it's about time. And we've still got half the game, but actually we haven't. And you see the BMP2s do kind of clean them out if I can get on them. And then here you go, so here's a tank, and then immediately double bomber out to kill the tank. And so that's why there aren't more T-72s here. And this is really, obviously there's going to be some wisecrack in the comments, bro, just use the smoke and then... But this is a fundamental problem with this division. And it is slow at the start. And against something like this, you will lose. Against a good player doing it anyway. So, yeah, you see the issue. He could sort of be everywhere. He could even be doing this better. Imagine if one of these, 50 points, just came down here, around the back here, and just parked itself there. Imagine if one of them had come round here and then down to here. He's... there are ways he could be doing things better as well, right? So one of those down to here, down to there, and then I can't reinforce this, right? Try and get it around, whatever. But you see the problem. Because eventually I start buying the tanks. I'm like, well, let's try the tanks, but immediately, super retard cluster just comes and kills them. Obviously, I do manage to intercept that one at the cost of my own plane. But yeah, you can't, you just don't have the DPS. Anyway, at this point it's basically over. I could have landed these and then taken them off and killed this, but I was trying to find the CV because it was just 30 seconds left. So they end up dying and I surrender. So you see the issue, right? There's a couple more games I could show you, but I think this guide is upwards of an hour and a half now. And you see we're pretty evenly ranked players. So he was rank 11 or something, and I was rank 12 or something. But yeah, 9 and 11. And you see the KD wasn't too bad, but that was literally just, if you're against a light div, you're just going to lose. So that's the issue with the division. So I'll just do a brief summary, right? Strengths, weaknesses. So I'd say it's a solid B-tier division, right? But the question is, why would you play this if you can just play 79Y or 119Y? This deck's a bit out of date, and obviously we're not covering this, but the idea is this div does very similar things, but at the start of the game you can open with a bunch of TO55s, and then the enemy can't push you in the same way, and you get long-range AA, so the Cubs would just kill all his stuff, right? Those Crusaders and Mirages would die in one hit to the Cubs, so the Cubs would just be killing them every time they showed up, whereas the Osas need 2 hits, and they've got less range. And the advantage of the cub is that it can kill it before it kills your tank. Whereas the Osa can only kill it after it's killed your tank. So this is basically just the same but better. Because look, you can still run the BMP2s, you still get the grenade launchers, your infantry doesn't have the guard status, which does matter. You don't have the best late game tank in the T80U thing, but you'll notice I'm just like barely buying that, because you can only, it's just going to die to a bomber. And the big advantage with the 79Y are these TO55s for the start of the game. Like typically, obviously this deck's a bit out of date, but that should be at 2-bet. And the idea is, the AML 90 shows up and this just kills it, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, because it's got 11 armor. Whereas I don't have that. And if you think about a div like, I don't know why I keep referring to 16th Belgium, but it's a good example because of all the Leopard 1s. So this is half the price of that T72. And the idea is, obviously the T72's got 10 more armor and will only take one hit, 1 damage from each hit. But if you have 2 of these, then they're firing at 20 rounds a minute, which is a lot more than 8. And so they can clean up those light targets a lot faster. And that's just an issue with second. The other one you can play instead is 119Y, because it's sort of the same again, but better. Because you still get the funny thing, right? Obviously, you'd be using an LGBT or something, but you get better heli slots, and you get airborne forward deployment. Your AA is sort of equally diabolical with the Tunguska, but you get better fighters and more fighters, better air slots, and you get airborne forward deployment, and you get the TO55s for the early game. Your tanks are more expensive, right? Past the TO55s, but and you don't have any, Acacias and stuff. But you see the point, whereas this div has a fundamental problem, and that's not the only time that had happened to me. It's just whenever you're against lighter divs in the early game, you just get the crap beaten out of you, because you don't have any medium tanks. So you're forced to make do with BMP2s, which are really not what they used to be, and Metis squads, which aren't all that either. So yeah, in terms of the strengths of the division, the late game's amazing. If you can just lock them down and just trade, imagine that last game where I lost. Imagine that on Mount River Duel, where it's kind of narrow. He can't really go anywhere. The game takes ages to end because there's only a couple zones and they're only +1s. It'd be way better for me because he can't get around me. There's only so many places he can go, whereas on BlackForest, there's lots of new, bigger maps now. But you see the issue. Against something like 16th Belgium, against even something like HDR, played by a good player, they're just going to absolutely pile it on you at the start. And, even against a div like 4th Armoured, you spend the first 20 minutes of the game losing. And you just have to hope that you take enough good trades, even against 35th US. So that the game it's a very, very slow to start division. And that is a big problem. Because, no forward deployment, no medium tanks, no long-ranged AA, no MMG team, which is super good in the early game, right? Because you only get a HMG team and a 30mm. Very few cheap ATGMs, so you've got the BMP. You don't have the BMP1, right? Oh, actually, what? No, maybe you do. Okay, you do. Okay, so that's something, right? So, maybe I could down-bet this and switch this to a BMP1 and try that or something like that, right? Which I will try moving forwards, but you get my point, right? You don't have, and you can get the infantry one, but it doesn't come in like a VAB Milan or a Fox Milan or an FV432 Milan. You don't get, a cheap one here, BRDM2 Unspeakable, BRDM2 Mayuka. And so you really do suffer against these divs which are proper good early. So Airborne and those scrappy infantry divs, 152 easy, surprisingly. So, this guide has gone on for a long time. Do let me know if you found this useful, because this is basically a big chunk out of my day, essentially. So if nobody watches it, then nobody watches it. And do be sure to go on the straw poll in the description and vote on which one you want to see next. Obviously, HDR is going to be the next one, but after that. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned about the division, its strengths, its weaknesses. And yeah, it just comes down to this thing. Like it's super fun, but it's like, why would I play this instead of 79Y, which does the same thing but better? Anyways, I'll see you around.